Hey guys, so for today's video I'm going to be recreating an old set that I did for a nail contest that I entered into while I was in cosmetology school. The theme was like summer or something like that, and so I did two different designs for that competition. I didn't win because when you see, I'm going to put the picture up on the screen of what I did, and like it's not that great. And there were definitely a whole lot better designs that were entered into this competition that definitely deserved to win, but it was fun to enter it. I remember I was like the only one from my school that entered in this competition. Like it was a I think it was for anyone that like was in cosmetology school across the US or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was fun, and it was cool to see all the different nail designs that were entered into it, and like to enter this little competition. But anyhow, I figured it'd be really cool to recreate both of the sets to see like how far I have come since then. In the picture, I think it was dated like 2016, so it's been what, like 9 years since then. So I was really excited to do this to see how far like my nail art has come in those 9 years. So for this one, I'm starting off with the like sunset or the beach like sunset set. And to start off, I'm taking these different colors from Madam Glam. I think it was like purple era. I actually don't remember what all the colors were. I know it was like Sunset in Hawaii and Mimosa. I don't remember the pink one. I think it might be Berry Blush. I don't know, but you saw them at the beginning. They'll also be linked down below. I do have a discount code with Madam Glam that was up on the screen. It's also down in the description below. So if you do like Madam Glam's gel polishes, you can use my discount code to save some money on them. Also, if you're wanting to try out Madam Glam's gel polishes, you can use my discount code to try them out. You know, save you money so you can try them out. I do really like their gel polishes. They were the first like high quality brand that I tried out, and I fell in love with them the moment I tried them. They are nice, or they're really pigmented, depending on if it's a sheer color or an opaque color, but the opaque colors are pretty pigmented. A lot of them you can get away with doing one coat coverage on them. I really like their glitter polishes. Like they have a bunch of different formulations of glitter. They also have some like Korean gel polishes on there. I do have several videos where I had gotten PR packages from them and tried out a bunch of their different polishes. So if you want to know like all my thoughts on their polishes and everything, you can go check out any of those videos where I was testing them out, and you can know like my full thoughts on them. But I do really like them. Also, if you are a fan of ball pit gel polishes, I feel like Ball Pit and Madam Glam are pretty similar in their formulation. I mean, I don't know their exact formulations, but like to me they're pretty similar because they're both thicker polishes, very opaque, and I love them both. Those are Ball Pit and Madam Glam are my top two brands for gel polishes. But anyhow, to do this ombre here that I'm doing, I started out with the purple and did just a little bit, because with the ombre you do drag it down, and I didn't want to put too much since I am doing a 4 colored ombre, which is a little complicated and a little like complex for an ombre to do that many colors. Usually you only see like 2 colors for an ombre, but I did do a 4-color ombre for this set originally. And the original way I did it was with the sponge technique. And for the original design, I was just using regular plain air dry nail polish. But now I use gel polish, and while the sponge technique does work for doing ombres with gel polish, it does take a lot more work and way more layers than if you were to paint it on, but it is completely possible. I don't recommend doing the sponge method if you are doing the ombre on yourself or on a person, because you are going to get gel all over the skin, and that's not good. We don't want that. So I don't recommend doing the sponge method if you're doing it on an actual person, but if you were to just do it on, like, say, a press on here, it's not going to be that big of a deal because you're not going to get the gel polish all over the skin. Also, I wanted to test out doing an ombre with an ombre brush. This is the Easy Ombre brush from Ball Pit. I have done ombres like this before, but nothing like this. I think I've really only done like ombres where it's like a color into clear. Actually, I think I did do a black to red ombre, which was really difficult. Darker colors tend to be a lot more difficult to ombre this way. But anyhow, like I was saying, I took the purple, put it just a little bit on the nail because, like I said, with the ombre brush, you do drag it down, and I didn't want it to be dragged down so far down the nail that it was going to end up showing through like the orange and the yellow, because those are a lot darker than, or a lot lighter than the purple. I just wanted it to blend down a little bit so it blend down into the pink. And then once I got that on, I cured it for 60 seconds, then moved on to the pink, did the same thing, just applied a little strip there, and then I ombreed it up into the purple and down towards where the orange was going to go. Once I got that how I wanted it, cured it for 60 seconds, did the same thing with the orange, applied a little bit there, blended it up into the pink, and then blended it down into where the yellow is going to be, cured that for 60 seconds, and then I applied the yellow there to the free edge of the nail, and then blended it up into the orange, and then cured it for 60 seconds. And then I did go in and do a second layer on all of these colors just to give it a little more opaqueness, because that first layer was a little sheer since I did spread out that gel polish a lot to get it to blend into each other, so it was looking a little more sheer compared to if you just painted it on. So that second coat helped to add a little bit more opaqueness to the nail. It also helps to like make the ombre look a little better. Like that first layer, you kind of are questioning yourself on if this ombre is turning out well or if it looks good, but for some reason when you add like a second coat, or even if you need to do a third coat depending on the colors that you're doing, like the other coats after that, it just looks a lot better once you have those other colors layered on. And to do the ombre with the ombre brush, I'm just kind of doing like a tap and pull kind of motion. I've seen everybody else kind of do that with these brushes, and their ombres always come out really well. I will say I don't feel like my ombre was like the best ombre that I've ever done, but it wasn't really that bad. Like I said earlier, I haven't really done very many ombres with this brush technique. It is still something that I am practicing with and trying to figure out and work out myself to get it to work out really well. I will say that the closer together that the colors are, like as you can see with the yellow and the orange, like they blended very well together because they are like the same color. They're not the same color, but like they're kind of the same family, you know. Orange does have yellow in it, so it's a lot easier to blend those two colors together versus blending like the purple and the pink. It does look a little streaky on the purple and pink, whereas I feel like the orange and the yellow blend together very seamlessly. But like I said, that's just kind of something that I have to work on a little bit and practice some more and just get better with my technique while doing it. So I'm not necessarily the best person to follow when it comes to like an ombre tutorial using an ombre brush like this. But I feel like it honestly really didn't turn out too bad. After I got the nails finished, I went in with my matte top coat from Nails by Dev and top coated all of the nails. I'm not 100% sure why I did that. I filmed this video so long ago. I don't remember what my thought process was when I was doing this. I might have just been doing it to test out to see like because, you know, people will say after they do their base layer, before they go in with any nail art, they'll apply a matte top coat, and it just helps to, like, smooth the nail out and make it easier to do nail art on top of. Whereas usually I just wipe the nail off with some alcohol to remove the sticky layer, and that's always worked for me. So I think maybe I was testing that out to see if there was any difference with it. I don't know, but applied that, cured it for 60 seconds, and the Nails by Dev matte top coat, you do have to wipe it off with alcohol to get the matte effect. And then once I did that, I took the black from Ball Pit to do like the birds and the like beach and palm tree design that I had on there. I'm also using the 9mm liner brush from Ball Pit. I think it's called the Little Miss 9mm brush. I'm not 100%. Yeah, it is. I can see it right there. Which I do like this brush. I have previously been using my Nails by Dev 9mm liner brush, and the Nails by Dev one is a little bit thinner than the Ball Pit one. I did mention this in another video, how the Ball Pit brush is a little bit thicker than what I'm used to, which isn't a bad thing. Like, it does come in handy. But when you're trying to do super thin lines, you do have to have a super light hand. Otherwise, they can get pretty thick. So when I was doing these birds, which I was just kind of doing like a V shape or kind of like that M shape, you know how when you're kids, you always do your birds like that. You draw like the little M to show the birds flying in the air. That's what I was doing there, but when I was doing them, because I wanted to keep them pretty thin to make them look small and kind of in the distance, I did have to do very light pressure for that to keep them thin. Otherwise, the lines, it did get a little thick. But the good thing is with these Ball Pit brushes, they are double-ended. So on one side, you have like your liner brush, whatever size it is. And then on the other side, you do have a cleanup brush. I have stated before that I'm not really a huge fan of liner brushes just because I feel like the part where you actually can hold on to the brush is kind of small and it's a little difficult to hold. But for the Ball Pit brushes, like, it is a large area and it sits comfortably in your hand, so you don't really have to worry about having like a small little area to hold between the two ends. But after I got the birds on that nail, I moved on to the next nail and did like the beach like the sand part, and I just kind of did a line going across the bottom. I wasn't trying to make it a straight line, but I also wasn't like trying to make it super wavy or anything. I just kind of took my brush, ran it across the bottom, and however it came out was however it came out. Filled that in, did a palm tree by drawing like a kind of curved line going up, and then I did 4 curved lines coming off the top of that to create the palm leaves. What are they called? The fronds, I think. I'm just gonna call them palm leaves. So I just drew like that line, and then once I got those all on, I started doing like little wispy like lines off of those. So I was just kind of lightly flicking the brush from those lines that I drew on top of the palm tree to create like the little flared, frilly, leafy part, you know? And I just did that until the leaf was how I wanted it, and then moved on to the next nail and did whatever design I did there. I was just doing like palm trees and like the sand and like the birds and stuff. So I basically just did that across all of the nails, and then once I got them done, I did go ahead and cure for a full 60 seconds. I didn't flash cure in between doing anything or in between each nail. Like once I got one nail done, I just set it to the side and waited to do a full 60-second cure once I was finished doing all of the nail art. Same with like just doing one nail. I wasn't flash curing in between doing anything, so I wasn't flash curing between each bird that I did or after I did the sand or like the trunk of the palm tree or anything like that. Like I just did it all at once. But you know, if you are more comfortable flash curing in between because you feel like you are going to end up messing it up, bumping it or anything, you are more than welcome to flash cure whenever you see fit. Otherwise, you can just do like I did and just wait to do a full 60-second cure at the very end. I also only did one coat for the black because this is a very pigmented black. Every time I use it, I say this. It is a very pigmented black. One coat coverage. You really don't need a second coat at all, especially when you're doing nail art. That's why I really love the Ball Pit brand, because the way her gel polishes are, you really don't need to do a second coat on them. Even when doing nail art, I have said before that there are some times where you do need to do a second coat. If you watch my Lizzie McGuire video, then you will see I did have to do second coats on those just because I did use that like glitter polish for the base, and those glitter chunks were kind of showing through a little bit. But for the most part, you really don't have to do multiple coats whenever you are using the ball pit polishes to do nail art. Whereas for some other brands like the Madam Glam polishes, for instance, I would say you have to do a second coat for like all of them whenever you're doing nail art, just because while they are really pigmented, and like if you're just painting the nail itself one color, you could get away with doing one coat for most of the colors. It just, whenever you're doing nail art, you do tend to spread the polish a lot thinner and use less polish than if you were to just paint a nail like normal. So it does get a little thin, and it just, with the Madam Glam ones, you do tend to have to do at least 2 coats for them. Sometimes, like I said, depending on the color, you might have to do more, but it's usually only 2 coats for them. But yeah, that's why I really like the ball pit gel polishes for doing nail art. Also, another way to avoid having to do multiple layers when doing nail art is you could use like liner gels or like paint gels, like the potted paint gels, because those are thicker. They are usually a lot more pigmented, and they are meant for like doing nail art and all of that. So they are created to not have to need multiple layers to be able to get like a full opaque design or whatever you're doing there. But I'm just gonna go ahead, let the rest of this play out. I think there's only a couple more nails anyhow. It's all pretty straightforward. Like I said, just doing some little sandy beach designs and like with the palm trees and the birds and stuff. So I'm just gonna let this play out, and then I will come back when I need to. And now that all of that is done, I'm just taking my LGN shiny top coat and applying that to all the nails, and then I cure that for 60 seconds. I kind of wish I would have done these matte because I feel like they would have looked really cool matte. I almost feel like they would have looked better being matte, but I feel like I always just grab the shiny top coat because shiny nails or using a shiny top coat is just like default for me. I definitely prefer shiny nails for myself, but I will do certain designs matte because I just feel like it looks better matte. And I think, like I said, shiny is just default for me, so I just automatically grab it and then just started applying that to all of the nails. And I really didn't think too much about it until after I had gotten all of my like finishing shots and like pictures and stuff. I could have gone in and applied the matte top coat on top of it afterwards and like taken new finishing shots and everything, but I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of feeling lazy when I was doing this. I also was in a super time crunch when I was filming it. I didn't have much time to film videos, and I needed to do some like quick nail art and like get done with these quick. I had to film several videos in like a couple days, and I just really didn't have the time to like fix anything or like do a whole lot of stuff. So these are just shiny and they look really good shiny. I also feel like shiny top coat does tend to help blend out nail art a little better, especially if you do like an ombre or if you do an aura but you had to like paint the aura on yourself or something like that. I feel like it just smooths it out and blends it a little better, whereas sometimes with matte top coat I feel like it really shows like all of your little imperfections and everything, and I just feel like maybe the matte top coat would have showed like all the imperfections in the ombre. But like I said, I do feel like this design would probably look a little better being matte versus shiny, but I do like how it looks shiny. I always like how any design looks shiny. There just are some designs that I feel like probably look a little better matte, and this is one of them. But overall, I am super happy with this set. I'm super happy with how it came out, and compared to when I originally did it, it looks a whole lot better. Like, I feel like if I were to have entered this set into the competition, I probably would have got a little farther than where I did with that original one. But, you know, that just goes to show that the more you practice, the better you get. So if you are new to doing nail art, just keep practicing. It's not gonna be, you know, perfect at first, but the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.